Good evening, everyone. We are so excited to have you attending Family Advocates' 9th annual Welcome Home event. I'm Michelle Edmonds from Idaho News 6, but tonight, I'm not just an MC. I've been connected to Family Advocates for over a decade now, as a former board member, as a community partner, and a financial supporter. I know firsthand how Family Advocates' incredible team of staff and hundreds of volunteers work tirelessly every single day, pandemic or not, to strengthen families and keep children safe in Idaho. Before we get started this evening, I want to encourage you to take a couple of moments to share this link with all of your different connections. Text it out, share it on Facebook perhaps, send an email. The more people we can have with us here tonight, the more we can inform the community about the incredible work that Family Advocates is doing. For the second year in a row, we have opted to host this event, as you can see, virtually, and we so appreciate your willingness to partner with us, advancing hope. Tonight is a celebration of Family Advocates' 40-plus years of providing services for local families and children. Through the years, our programs have evolved to meet the current needs of our growing and changing community and provide a voice for the most vulnerable population, children. In 2020, Family Advocates worked hard to bridge the gap and overcome many challenges associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. And now, in 2021, Family Advocates is working to advance hope. But what does advance hope mean? What does it look like in practice? Tonight, you're going to hear firsthand from participants and volunteers and staff what it means to advance hope. By donating time and money to Family Advocates, I know that I'm supporting programs to end the cycle of abuse and neglect, and even more importantly, prevent it. It's a lofty mission, we all know that, and one that could not get accomplished without the generous community support. So I'd like to take a moment and thank the companies right now that have invested in Family Advocates with their sponsorship and donation matches for this evening. 116 and West, Horizon Credit Union, Nutrition West, Signet Idaho, Albertsons, BRJ Distributing, Edge Brewing, the Sugar Plum Ferry Design, and Dutch Bros East Valley, Idaho. We'd also like to thank our Champions for Children, some of whom I know are joining us tonight. These are individual donors who have committed to donate at least $5,000 within 2 years to help support the Family Advocates mission. I would also like to give a huge thanks to our tireless board members who steer this organization to success time and time again. Our viewing party hosts, without whom none of you would be here today. Our program volunteers who give generously of their time, doing the really tough work. And of course, our dedicated staff, whom we can't thank enough for everything they do in our community. During our program this evening, you will get to hear firsthand the impact Family Advocates programs have on local children and families. We hope that this program educates and inspires you.
So thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Catherine Siebold, and I'm the Executive Director of Family Advocates. This evening is so important to us. One, to say thank you to all of you, but also to let you know where your money went this past year. We served over 450 children in our CASA program and over 250 families, including delivering resources. Our theme this year was advancing hope. Every child, every family, every individual needs hope in their life. Hope propels you toward the future. It gives you that pathway to follow and that light at the end of a tunnel. What's important to me is to explain to you where your money goes. Last year, the money that Welcome Home brought in, we were able to use that to expand our family strengthening program, to now be able to serve teens through an 8-week program, and also to help the women that are incarcerated moving back into a home environment take parenting courses so that they're able to adjust to a new family environment. Your help last year allowed us to expand these programs and allowed us to give hope to these families that they could go back into a home environment, be back with their children, that teens didn't have to be scared to take that next step, whatever that meant for them, whether it was to go back to school, whether it was to get a job, to apply for college or a trade school. We were able to use those funds to support families and children with these necessary educational tools and communication tools, as well as life skills. And we want to continue to provide these resources to families that are so important to us. In addition to that, we want to be able to use these resources to attract more volunteers that will become guardians in the CASA program. As we all know, more children are entering the program, and without your help, we're not able to provide them with the guardians that they need. So thank you again for joining us this evening. What you will learn and find out about Family Advocates is that we touch so many lives in different ways. You'll hear from one of our guardians and one of our pro bono attorneys that support the CASA program. So tonight we all come together. This is a very important night for us to continue to advance hope for families. We cannot do it without you, without our staff, without our volunteers, and without the families. So thank you for what you bring to us. The possibilities are truly endless.
Thank you for joining us tonight for the Family Advocates Advancing Hope 2021 virtual fundraiser. If you'd like to donate tonight, the easiest way to do that is by text. Text FAWH 2021 to 44321. You'll receive a link to our donation page where you can select your amount or enter any amount that you'd like. Be sure to select if it's a one-time gift or a monthly donation. Hit continue, follow the steps, and choose your payment method. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. Our family strengthening classes work with families to create strong networks and establish healthy habits through classes, activities, and education about available resources. Cassidy is a recent graduate of our first online family strengthening class.
There's one class that happened that was in particular where it was like a trigger for me because it's something that's so hard for me to talk about. And so I emailed the teachers. I told them I'm going to have my camera off for this class, but I really wanted to go. And it was for when the court advocate showed up and was telling how that process works and what she does in her job and why it's important to co-parent and all these different tools and resources. And I don't even think I know my teachers don't know this, but I bawled throughout that whole but I also I had a notepad and a pen and I was going to town and writing all these notes that was oh my gosh, of course I should do that. And that was that class time at that moment it was so good, and I took so much out of that. Being a mom is sometimes so hard and so exhausting, and by taking the family strengthening program, you don't just learn techniques and you're not just taking notes. You're also you're communicating with other parents and you're feeding off of each other, and you're learning that I'm not the only one that's tired, or I'm not the only one that's holding a kid right now in the middle of class that's screaming, and I'm trying to eat dinner and I haven't showered in three days. And you learn that you're not the only one that's going through this stuff, and it's great. And especially with the small tips that they give you when you're in class, as far as how when a baby's growing and things that are appropriate for different ages, and you get a real good perspective on how you and your baby are doing and what you can improve on. The main reason why I decided to even take the family strengthening program is because her and I have a little boy in Texas that he has our hearts, and we're trying, everything we do is to get home to him. And that was the main reason when I found Family Advocates, because I knew once I took that class and I had that certificate saying I did it, and I'm doing everything I can to be the best mom that I can be to get us home to Brody. And the fact that I completed that class and I had that certificate, I accomplished that goal, it gets us that much closer to our brother back home. And so that's the biggest thing that I'm so grateful for, is that it helps me with my pride, where I can stand up and I can say, look, I did this, and I'm learning and I'm growing and being, and that's everything to me, is, you know, my kids, and just trying to be the best version I can be because they're my purpose.
My name is Brenda Muncy, and I have served as a guardian ad litem in the Family Advocates Program for a little over 7 years. So as a guardian ad litem, I am a court-appointed special advocate. The judge appoints me to a case, and I look at everything to do with any type of a child protection case. I advocate for the children. I look out for their medical needs and see what's going on there, or their educational needs. I go and visit them in their foster homes to see how they're doing in their placement. I really talk to everybody involved with the case, whether it be their biological parents, foster parents, teachers, physicians, counselors, anybody that's involved with this child. I talk to them to see what's truly going on, to form a whole picture of what's going on in this case and with a specific child. When you can see a child that has had a pretty rough life until they came into care, then be able to be adopted by a wonderful family and have a whole new lease and a whole new outlook and a whole new chance at life, that is really, really powerful. It's been a few years ago, but I had a case with 2 siblings. One was 3 and one was 12, which is typically the age that we are not assigned to advocate for, at the age of 12. But this particular young man I felt was kind of falling through the cracks, and so I asked my attorney to petition the court to allow me to be his guardian ad litem, and that was accepted, and I was able to advocate for him. Eventually, the little sister went back to a biological parent, but the older son was not able to. So he inevitably was adopted by a wonderful family that completely changed his life around. Every little thing that we do makes a difference. It may not feel like it when you're in the middle of craziness. It may not feel like it, but it does. I remember sitting in that adoption hearing, crying my eyes out, because it was just such a wonderful day. And I knew that the things that I had done, particularly petitioning the court to advocate for him, had made a difference. What really gives me hope is when I see that cycle of abuse broken. And when I see people really get their lives together and move on to have really productive lives and raise great kids.
Your gift this evening is important, and we thank you for joining us. If you're considering a donation, there are multiple ways to give. The easiest way is by text. You can text FAWH 2021 to 44321. You'll get a link and then just follow the steps. You can also fill out our online form. Just visit our website at familyadvocates.org and look for the Give tab over on the right side of the page. If you'd prefer to send a check, you can find our address on the website as well. We also have other ways to donate, including stock sharing, employer matching, and beneficiary donation. Send an email to info@familyadvocates.org, and we'd be happy to get more information to you. Again, thank you for joining us this evening.
Hi, my name is Lori Hickman, and I am an attorney practicing law in Boise, and I joined Family Advocates, specifically the CASA program, 3 years ago. I've practiced law for several years on and off and did not become a member of the Idaho Bar until 3 years ago. So as soon as I was eligible in Idaho to volunteer with this program, I looked into it, submitted an application, and got going. To be able to take my training and to apply it to such a worthwhile effort for a population, a segment of the population that just does not have a voice in a really important, kind of complicated legal process. The fact that I've just got one small role, I don't feel like I contribute a whole lot, but because I can assist the guardian ad litems in their really important role with these children and help get them to the result that they need, which is inevitably through the complicated, scary legal process, then it's just, it's a full circle experience. It brings much more joy. I say that my work practice, fills my bank account, and the volunteer practice with CASA fills my soul. Advancing Hope with CASA means that you're trying to change the trajectory of these children's lives. And it can go with reunification, if that's a possibility, and that the family unit has restructured itself, changed, made strides to be somewhere that these children can thrive. Or if that's not an option, then adoption, where they get a new chance and a new start at life. And to be able to do that, I feel like I don't have a critical, pivotal role like the volunteer, the guardian ad litems and the people that run this organization, but I do provide the technical expertise or the legal background to facilitate it and get it through the court. And to be able to just help that and turn these kids' lives in a small or a significant way brings hope in a pretty hopeless situation, that it starts out pretty hopeless, and that at the end there can be a glimmer of hope and joy and a better future for these children. That's a moment that makes it all worth it.
If you'd like to help support Family Advocates, the easiest way to donate is by text. Text FAWH 2021 to 44321. You'll get a link and you can follow the steps from there. Again, we're incredibly thankful for your time and your donation.
Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Darcy Holworth, and I'm currently the board president at Family Advocates. I first became involved with Family Advocates as a donor, supporting the organization through giving events like this one. As a parent, I understood the challenges of raising children, even under the best of circumstances. My parents provided me an incredible example of how to love and guide and support my children. And I've worked hard to follow their example. But I know I'm lucky. Many children are not given that kind of care. Through no fault of their own, they're born into a life of challenges. And those challenges not only make it difficult and sometimes unsafe for them, but create a cycle that can be difficult to break when they themselves become parents. Medical providers know that adverse childhood experiences, also called ACEs, contribute to a lifetime of negative health consequences. ACEs include experiencing or witnessing physical, sexual, or emotional abuse, neglect, imprisoned parents, or parents with substance abuse problems. It's our goal through our Family Strengthening Program to help parents gain resiliency, process their own trauma, and reduce ACEs for their children. We do this by providing parenting classes in which families can bond through shared experiences and learn essential skills. We also provide one-on-one assistance and resources for families in need. Parents attending classes earn free diapers and other essentials. Through our program, we have been able to reach hundreds of families and improve outcomes for thousands of children. Sadly, our Family Strengthening Program cannot reach every family and prevent all abuse in our community. To assist children entering the foster system, Family Advocates, as a member of the National CASA program, recruits, trains, and assists volunteers who represent children's best interests in court. As you've heard tonight, these volunteers include both the guardian ad litems, who investigate each child's case and provide a voice for that child as they navigate the child protective system, and a volunteer attorney, who assists the guardian in advocating for the child in court. It's difficult to imagine how frightening the judicial process might be for a child, especially a child who's already endured trauma. These volunteers ensure the children are not alone and have a friend in the courtroom. They recommend to the judge services the child needs addressed. They make sure the child is in a safe home. And they may just be the one constant for a child whose life seems upended and out of control. Our volunteers are the heart and soul of our organization. Without them, we simply would not exist. We are humbled by their dedication and willingness to help children and families in our community. As I'm sure you all know, our community is expanding rapidly. With this growth comes the inevitable rise in demand for our services. More children than ever are entering foster care here. Our courts are appointing more guardians each week than ever before. We're desperate for more heroic volunteers willing to help us ensure that every one of these young children has a guardian ad litem. To help train and guide our volunteers, we need employees willing to do this difficult work. Our small staff of extraordinarily dedicated people not only finds and trains CASA volunteers, but works tirelessly to make sure the guardians and volunteer attorneys have the support they need to do their best work. Our volunteer coordinators provide guidance and support and make sure the children entrusted to our program are well served. Under National CASA standards, these coordinators are limited in the number of cases they can oversee. This guarantees that each case gets the attention it deserves, but it also means that more cases require more coordinators. As we work to hire and maintain an exceptional staff, we need even greater community support. When you give to Family Advocates, you are directly impacting children in our community who need our help. Your donation funds training and support for the CASA program volunteers. In addition, it provides education to parents working hard to learn the skills essential to create safe homes and thriving children. We welcome support of all kinds. If you're not already, please consider becoming a champion for children. Our champions are committed to donating $5,000 over 2 years. Paid monthly, that's just over $200 per month. By pledging to be a champion for children, you can help us ensure that we continue to provide services to every child appointed to us and to families in our growing community. There are many ways to donate. The fastest way is to text FAWH 2021 right now to 44321. Your donation will go to work immediately. If you prefer, visit our website, familyadvocates.org. Click on Give. If you want to become a champion for children, simply select Make This a Recurring Gift, put in the comments Champions for Children $5,000. You can also send a check payable to Family Advocates to our offices in Boise. Again, if you'd like to be a champion for children, just put a note in the envelope with your phone number. We'll give you a call and set it all up. Finally, Family Advocates is happy to discuss legacy gifts from your estate. Call us for more information about how to do that. Together, by volunteering, donating, and spreading the word about Family Advocates, we all can have a positive impact on our community. We hope you'll join us.
National CASA Association, let me start there. They have actually said that children who have a guardian ad litem volunteer advocating for their best interest have higher levels of hope. And that hope is because they have a person that's listening to them, participating in their day-to-day lives, and somebody that cares about them and will show up on their behalf. So when I think of hope, I think of our volunteers and that they are not only spreading hope throughout the community, but definitely for the children that they're serving. The thing I love about what I do each and every day is the interfacing with our volunteers. It warms every aspect of my heart, and that we also have 9 amazing CASA program team members that just champion the message of what we do day in and day out. And they are fearless in their delivery and in everything that they do. Thank you from all of the CASA staff for just being a part of tonight. Thank you especially to those CASA staff members for their dedication day in and day out. Thank you to our 180 guardian ad litem volunteers who fearlessly walk in and serve children. And thank you to our 84 pro bono attorneys that show up to represent the best interests of children each and every day in the courthouse. Thank you to our donors, and thank you to our board of directors. You're amazing humans.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to our fundraiser for Family Advocates. I am joined by Darcy Holworth, board president, and I should mention right away that she is also my sister. So if you think you're seeing double, some people think we look alike, others are like, what? I don't know. Darce, which is what I call her in our house. Darce, look at the number on your screen. $32,000 has already come in for Family Advocates.
It's a great start.
Really good start, but as you can see from the graphic right there, this is our handy dandy thermometer that we're going to be throwing up throughout the night and showing you all. We're trying to raise $80,000. It's a lot of money on a screen like that, Darcy, but as we've been hearing throughout the night tonight, that money is desperately needed for our growing community. And you see it firsthand inside the board what that money does. Talk a little bit about just some of the basics. I know you were kind of studying up on your numbers before you came tonight. What does, like, if someone wanted to throw $20 at us tonight, it really does make a difference.
Every dollar counts. $20 is what it costs to put diapers on a child for a week. $60 would cover the cost of a backpack that we provide to every foster child that's full of something they need, something they want, and something to read. So,
sweet.
Every amount counts. From there, all the way up to it's $3,900 to train and onboard a guardian ad litem. So, like I said, everything counts, but all of this added together is what helps us run the organization.
Let's say a few thank yous, shall we? So Susie Crofts has already joined us with $500 pledge. John Nordstrom, hello, John. We see you with your $5,000. Yes. Mary Hansen with $511.55. I would like to know where the 55 cents is going at some point.
I'm thinking that's the credit charge. I feel if you just want to go ahead and donate whatever that percentage is, then you get some odd number.
Well, there you go. I love it.
But it's fine. We'll take it.
We'll take that 55 extra cents. That's right. And Catherine Grant, thank you so much, all of you, for joining us tonight with a $500 pledge. Look at our thermometer, just keeps going up as Martin joins us tonight with $1,036.27. Gotta love those upcharges. We appreciate you taking the hit for us in those. So there's some big thank yous, Darcy, that you want to say as a Family Advocates board member tonight. I mean, this could not be done first and foremost without the staff at Family Advocates, which, oh my goodness, what they deal with in this organization on a day-to-day basis is not something that I want to be exposed to. I mean, this is hard.
Yeah, we have an amazing staff. We're divided across different groups. So we have, our advancement group who's focused more on trying to fund all the organization's activities. We have our family strengthening group, and we have our CASA group, and then we have all the support system that goes into that. We have very few people that do all of it, and they are tremendously dedicated. It's just, it's astonishing. I mean, I think, a lot of us feel like we work really hard. If you stepped foot inside that building and saw what these people are doing and the kind of things that they're having to work with, it's really amazing.
It's brilliant, and the reason they can do it is because Family Advocates is based on volunteers. So you don't have to pay so many people to do the work. You have volunteers who are giving of their time and their talents to make sure that we are protecting children in this community. And we're literally talking about training and making sure that there are hundreds of volunteers available, and you need more.
Right, and as our community grows, we're limited in the number of people, as I said, that can serve, the number of cases that any one coordinator can take. And we're trying to create ways that we can leverage our volunteers so that our volunteers themselves can kind of take over some of the oversight also, the ones that are very experienced.
That makes sense.
And we're training them to do that. So that allows us to expand services without expanding our personnel. But there's a limit to all of that.
Sure.
And we're really kind of pushing the edges of that limit as this valley grows.
Well, $33,000 to that $80,000 we're trying to get in. Leanne Edwards joining us with a $60 pledge. Leanne, I know you wanted a backpack. I know you wanted a backpack for a child. I know that for a fact. And then there's Krista Patton, who's coming in at $204.81. Keep it coming, you guys. We love reading your names. We love seeing you joining us this evening, and especially we have so many donors and sponsors who we need to thank as well. You've been seeing those throughout the night. Let's talk quickly, because I want to show another video here in a moment, Darcy, about the guardians ad litem and the pro bono attorneys. Again, we're talking volunteers who take on some of the hardest cases of children who are left in horrible circumstances, and they care enough to take the deep dive and get to know these children.
They're saints.
They are saints. That is the right word for them. Guardian ad litem / saint is what we should say. Yes.
Yeah, and I like to think that as challenging as their job is, and it's very difficult, they are given the tools, and we work hard, and our staff works hard to give them every tool that they need so that they feel prepared to take on these cases. They have the support system. And that's a big part of what we're doing. You know, I think the volunteer obviously is doing the day-to-day work, and that's tremendous. But there's a lot of stuff that they're looking at and dealing with that's difficult, and they need backup.
Yeah.
You know, so that's something that we can provide.
When you were saying $3,900 to go through all of those, this isn't just a one and done. I mean, these are massive amount of volunteer hours that in training that you have to get a guardian ad litem up to speed. And I don't want to make it sound like it is a job that anybody can do or can't do. It is the training that Family Advocates gives that allows people to make sure they know what they're doing.
Right, to give them the confidence to go out there and represent children.
And if you need any more proof than that, just watch this.
You know that old saying about it takes a village. In this situation, it really does. And a lot of the work that we do, in my opinion, is to kind of helping to break that cycle. And there are a lot of resources that are available, but a lot of times you have to know what those resources are and you have to help guide people to that.
It takes time and money to do all of that, and I know that they don't make very much money doing this, and so it's passionate, and the fact that you're donating so that they can keep these doors open and help more and more children in such helpless, dire circumstances is, it's just almost an indescribable thank you and a help for this organization.
We really need to have financial assistance for this program. It helps us to do everything that we do here. Yes, there are a lot of volunteers, but we also need a staff here at Family Advocates to help run all of these volunteer programs. And so when you give money to this program, you really are investing in the children in our community.
To those who are already established donors or big supporters of this organization, I would just extend a huge thank you.
Every little thing that we do can make a difference to these children, to their families, and to this organization.
Wow, it's that relationship that we were talking about there. Those are volunteers. I mean, trained volunteers and an attorney who, by the way, is doing this pro bono, which you can speak attorney better than I can with your law degree. Pro bono means?
Without pay, for free, yes.
So volunteering, basically, in the legal
For good is
work.
what it means, and that's really what they're doing.
You had the chance, the whole board did, I know, to have a moment with those two women, those two incredible volunteers. What did they want you to know as a board? Because if you think of this organization, Family Advocates, you've got the board and you've got the staff and you've got the volunteers. But sometimes, as we all know in organizations, they don't necessarily get to hear the ins and outs of everybody's day and what they do. So what was your takeaway as a board member when you heard from them?
You know, I think the board was really moved. We are always looking at sort of the big pictures, the
Sure.
financials, the, you know, what direction are we going?
As you should be, that's your job.
Right, so we don't get a lot of the daily stories to really understand what our volunteers are doing on the ground. So it was very moving to get a clear picture of what that process looks like for our volunteers, and just to see them working together and the relationship that they've developed, that it was facilitated because of Family Advocates, but has created something bigger and broader, and they've been able to serve so many children together. So I think, you know, we've made a point that we need to do this more often, because it really was important for us to see.
Which is why we invited all of you to join us tonight, because you're getting to see behind the curtain a little bit and see those inside stories, meet some of the volunteers, meet some of the participants. And I love that this organization is called Family Advocates, because obviously we are advocating for families right here in Idaho. But fact of the matter is when you join Family Advocates in giving to this organization, you become part of the family.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you say in Idaho, and that's obviously, we're located here in the 4th District. We serve 4 counties, but it's a ripple effect.
Of course it is.
Anytime that you affect one person, that extends. So, you know, we can only imagine. We know that there are children that we've affected who have moved on and gone across the country. And so it's, you know, it's good to know that what we're doing in our little Idaho, in our little segment of Idaho, is making a difference, not just here, but beyond.
And for generations, right? Because that's the ripple effect as well, is you teach a family how to be more hopeful, you advance hope in that family, you're advancing hope in that child. Okay, I know someone who's helped advance hope because I just got word that Don and Tricia Flynn just sent in a check for $5,500.
Outstanding.
So,
we have some new
thank
champions
you.
for children, maybe.
Yes, Champions for Children. Again, explain a champion for children in case people missed that.
So we just like to
You get a fun title.
We get a fun title if you are able to donate $5,000 or more within 2 years. So the Flynns obviously dove in, and we're able to do that tonight. But for some people, that might just mean, you know, a monthly payment
Sure.
or whatever works best for them. But it's amazing because we know that we're going to be able to then sustain our activities over a longer period of time.
That's what that large amount does, is it gives the board and the staff the ability to long-term plan. But Darcy, as you've said over and over again, and we can check the thermometer and go there now, we're up over $40,000. Look at that. Lori's come in at $60. Shelby's come in at $60. Jeff is in at $41. Yes, okay, it's wonderful. If you have the ability to give $5,000, $10,000, $25,000 to this organization and be a sustaining member of it, God bless you. But in all reality, $60, $40, it's every dollar.
It's fantastic. And actually, we have matching tonight.
Really?
So we do. So every one of those dollars, up to $1,000, is being matched by Horizon Credit Union.
So you're telling me that if you're watching this with your family at home tonight, and maybe you have a child who is saying, but I only have $10, that $10 would go to $20?
If you told my 10-year-old that his $10 was going to be $20, he would be thrilled.
I know this
are
as his aunt.
Yeah.
I know this as a fact, so we might get a donation from Finn yet. Let's take a look at what family strengthening is all about, because this is an important part of the organization, because not only, we talked a little bit about CASA, the court-appointed special advocates, and what the guardian ad litems and the pro bono attorneys do in the foster care system, but before you see this video, real quickly, Darcy, family strengthening is the other side of what I like to consider like a table. And if you want to strengthen one side, you really have to strengthen the other leg, otherwise it's going to fall over, and the volunteers are obviously that third
Absolutely.
leg.
Although I think I like even better the concept of the family strengthening side putting the CASA side out of business.
Ooh, I like that too.
So
Yes.
we talk about that sometimes, that the family strengthening being the prevention side. You know, if we can grow that program, if we can reach more people, if we can provide more classes, then that's going to keep more and more children from even entering that foster care system in the first place. So that's, you know, we would love to be able to extend those classes. We've been able to do a good job of transitioning through the pandemic to provide them online, and I'm thinking we're probably going to continue doing that because we're able to reach people everywhere.
Sure, that makes sense.
But we're limited, you know, on staff and volunteers to where we can actually provide in-person classes. So right now we have a couple of places where we do that, but the more we can reach out into communities, not even just in our district, the CASA district that we are in, but also, you know, communities beyond, to families who just need a little help, who need guidance, who, you know, parents who maybe didn't have the best example when they were growing up. It's hard. Parenting's really hard.
It's really hard.
And that's,
yes.
you know, we had a great example.
We did.
And it's
The
still
best.
really hard. So I think, you know, for folks who don't have that, it's really, you know, you can be at a loss.
So here's a moment to show you exactly what family strengthening is all about.
In 2019, I was hopeless, and I used that word a lot. And going from what I was in, the situation I was in, into getting myself out of it and getting the help that I needed and getting the resources that I needed, it helped me. I started to become hopeful, which turns into, you know, advancing hope is advancing my future, advancing, you know, my opportunities, and which is such an amazing thing. It boosts my confidence and it helps me be a better mom for her. To my family at Family Advocates, we would say, yes, we would say thank you, because It's of people like you that have helped me and Lainey get to where we are today, and very happy and very healthy and very silly.
Oh, I love that video. We've seen it a
she's
couple of
adorable.
times now. But I mean, I think the reason I love it is because it's so real, right? To go from hopelessness to hope. And perhaps it's one of the reasons we called tonight's entire night Advancing Hope. If I say those words to you in terms of being the board president for Family Advocates, what does advancing hope look like?
I think I look at it two ways. So it's easy to be caught up in the challenges that
Sure.
we look at every day with this organization, all of us look at. But, it could be depressing if you think about the difficult situations that a lot of families are in. But I think our goal is to really look at not where they are, but where they can be, and trying to teach families, we understand that what you're dealing with right now is very, very difficult, but we have ways to help, and we provide the resources, whether it's, counseling and one-on-one help to actual physical, needs, diapers, wipes, those kinds of things. So I think to me, it's sort of the flip side of the coin of what could be a very sad situation, that we're doing our best to really turn it into a very positive and hopeful one. So to me, that's, I think, why we're focusing on advancing hope. And it all goes to sort of resiliency and being able to bounce, when life hands you something challenging.
And a lot of the parents that come into Family Advocates, life has handed them a lot of challenges, and somewhat not their fault. We're not talking about people who you might think of when you think of, oh, should we really be helping them? Or, oh, are they really going to get it together? These are families who might just have a little bump in their road, but they need a little bit of an extra hand up. And that's what I just love about Family Advocates. It's not about hand out at all, as you heard from that last video. This is a mom who is now being able to raise her daughter in a hopeful environment. That breeds light and love and learning.
Right. And by providing free services, we're a place where anybody who's sort of at the end of their rope can show up at the door, and we will guide them. We will find a class for them. We will, if the class isn't available yet because it's in the middle, we'll do some one-on-one assistance. Like, that is our goal, so that nobody feels that kind of hopelessness like she did.
And the Family Strengthening Program, one of my favorite things too, is when people ask me about it, is that there are clear markers. This isn't just a, show up, hang out. There's a curriculum that is followed. There's a graduation path, so to speak, and I think that gives people the goals, things to work toward. Absolutely. And it makes a difference, because the people who come into the program at Family Advocates know what they're there for. They're committed. It's not just a one and done, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and we've developed a curriculum over time. It's changed, it's modernized as we've learned new things, and every time they show up to class, they're going to learn something new, and so are their children. There's concurrent programming going on with the children. And even just something as simple as understanding the stages of development. If you had time when you had young children to read some of the books, you might understand what age my child should be walking and talking, and what their arguing means, that it's not necessarily that they're just being annoying. These are actually developmental steps, and I think learning that can be really liberating to parents, to say, well, this is normal, this is exactly where my child should be, or this is what I need to work on to get my child where there should be. And being in a room with other parents who are in the exact same position is tremendously helpful. I mean, I think back to just sharing with friends what you're going through, and just knowing that you're not the only one can be a real boost. And I think that in itself can give everybody hope that I'm okay. I'm doing okay, and we're going to get through this.
And I'm doing the best I can. And I know that in these groups, they come together and they become a little, almost close-knit family in all reality, because they're able to share in a way that they feel comfortable and safe in that environment. And they're each walking through this together, these, whether it be 8 or 12-week courses, whatever is going on right then.
Absolutely.
I think there are a lot of people joining us out there, a lot of moms, dads too, I know, but who are like, I wish I had had that.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, a straightforward class to tell you what to expect.
And a lot of
every
people
step,
surrounding you during those hardest moments.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, the tantrums, the sleepless nights, we
Right,
remember
right.
them.
And I think, we all know people who are hit hard, whether it's the pandemic or an economy or, lost a job, whatever.
Sure.
A lot of people are living very close to the edge. And when you add that to, a couple of
Parenting.
children that are young children and maybe they weren't in school for the last year and a half. And, there's so many challenges that parents were facing, and it's just exacerbated what they already had going on in their own lives. So I think now more than ever, we're there as a resource for those parents to take a breath and learn how to deal with those pressures and stresses.
And have friends in the process of doing it. Adult friends, adult conversations. You remember those days. Okay, let's take another look at our thermometer because I have to show you, we are past our halfway mark in trying to get to that $80,000 that we're doing. And I should mention that this is of course live right now, but we are going to keep this up for you to be able to share with your friends and your family, whether they're in state or out of state. So the donation that you're seeing, how you can donate, this live presentation will be here and available for you on the web for the next 24 hours. So if we don't make it all the way to that 80,000 tonight, I'd love to because that's fun and I wish we had confetti cannons that will go off, but we'll have confetti cannons tomorrow at the office or something when we hit that number. So I just wanted to make a plug that if you're watching this here tonight, we want to make sure that you have the chance to share it out with as many people as you can. Because it's going to take all of us to get to that 80,000 and beyond mark.
And honestly, if whether or not you've donated, if you know somebody who you think would be interested in learning more about Family Advocates, share this or share our website. We need help. We need not only dollars, but we need volunteers, and we just need to get the word out. The more we can spread the word about what Family Advocates does, the more we broaden that umbrella and not only get help, we also can then serve more people. If more people know about us, they know to ask for help. So I think that's the other piece of this.
It's really threefold, right? We want to get people into the program, we need more volunteers, and we need dollars to do it all. So as you can see with our thermometer, we should say a shout out to Kat Jones, former board president.
Thanks, Kat.
So hi Kat, over $1,000 donated tonight. And Christopher coming in with that $60, I'm calling it the backpack pledge.
Oh, I like it.
Do you like that? And Lori had that $60 pledge as well. So we're up over $43,000. So as we think about that family strengthening program tonight, we wanted to show you one last video that really takes you into the heart of a class, because if you don't know exactly what we're talking about or you can't really picture it in your mind, I think this will give you a much better idea.
Thank you for supporting Family Advocates. As a staff member, the Parent Development Coordinator, I get to touch the lives of all of the parents and children within our program, which helps build stronger communities. We teach our participants in our Family Strengthening Program is healthy outcomes from positive experiences. So with that, in Advancing Hope, by touching the lives of each participant separately, making those social connections, we are able to help strengthen families. And when we strengthen families, we strengthen our communities.
Advancing Hope, I get to see these families get strengthened by getting these tools, like active listening is a great example, and they get to practice this with their families, and the idea is for them to create a better future for their children as well when they grow up.
My Advancing Hope is changing the pattern of my family, changing the tradition, changing the mold, giving my kids the ability to be better than who I will ever be, and for them to continue that into our communities.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Without you, our program wouldn't be possible.
Thank you so much for your support. It means the world not only to me, but to all the families we get to serve.
Thank you, Family Advocates.
Thank you, Family Advocates.
Thank you, Family Advocates. Thank you, Family Advocates.
I love that. And thank you for joining us live tonight. I'm Michelle Edmonds from Idaho News 6, along with Darcy Holworth, Board President for Family Advocates. There have got to be, as these numbers come in, and we're looking at the tallies with our total going up over $44,000 now. Gang, we are well on our way. I love seeing these numbers come in. Rita's there with $100. Lori Hickman, incredible volunteer, $409. William Jensen with $100, and
Stacy Pay from our board coming in with a donation too, so thank you.
Which is amazing to me, and you can talk about that, but everybody who gets involved in this organization, whether they are boots on the ground or writing a check or showing up before a judge or writing reports for the foster care system, everyone is all in. So get ready. I mean, because if you're joining us tonight, you need to know how personal this is.
It is. You know, I think that like many nonprofits, you can be as involved as you want to be.
True.
Right? And we have volunteers who come in and they just want to hold babies. They just want to sit and hold the babies while the parents are doing classes, and that's great. We absolutely need that.
Right.
And then you have guardians like Brenda and attorneys like Lori who dive in and take, tens of kids. It's just tremendous how much time they're spending. I think I read that we have something like 22,000 hours of pro bono or of volunteer hours donated by our volunteers. It's in 1 year, in one fiscal year.
I mean, that's staff members. If you were to lay that out in terms of how much savings, because this is an organization that's doing this with volunteers. But it's not just doing it with volunteers because it's cheap, and I want to make that clear. No. This is the way the program best works, correct?
It does, and also this is the way it's kind of mandated to work too. We're under certain guidelines, both from CASA and from the state. So, we have to run our organization according to what all those guidelines require. So part of it is that we use volunteers. So it's so important to us that we have people willing to step up and do that. Because we'd have to be turning down cases. And we met every single child's need last year through CASA that we were assigned. And it's a great feeling to know that we're not turning down children who need our help.
But we are in a growing community, and it's got to be. Take me, Darcy. If I could pull the door open, I should say, on the boardroom, and you all are sitting there, and you crunch the numbers, and you look at the amount of money that's needed per child, per case in the foster care system to be able to make sure they're getting the right representation. Are there times where you start to bite your fingernails, and as a board, and just say, "Okay, we got to do this. We got to pull ourselves up and get this done"?
I think, there would be, but we have such a committed group of both the board members, but our donors are amazing. And we have been able to pull through even when we've been asked to meet greater challenges. Last year we met more needs than ever before. And luckily it came together.
Right.
I think somehow we always figure out how to find the dollars and how to make it work. Now it's just a matter of, are we going to be able to achieve bigger things? Are we going to be able to expand beyond our borders? Are we going to be able to provide classes? We need partners who can help us with locations to provide classes. And we'd really love to expand our CASA services to older children. Right now, under Idaho law, it's children 12 and under, but it would be great if we could serve children who, all the way up through 18.
Okay, I want to make sure that's heard. Right, until they become an adult.
An adult, right.
Yes, and we put that in parentheses because we now have an 18-year-old in the family, and, we love her dearly, but adult is,
It's okay, she doesn't want to be an adult.
Right, most don't at 18. So, but I want to touch on that because you said Idaho law doesn't have it in place to make sure that CASA can serve children over the age of 12. So how does that work?
Yeah, so what we do through the CASA program is actually a state-mandated program that attorneys and guardians are appointed to represent children under the age of 12 in every case that comes before the court in the foster care system. So currently, that's the way the law is written. We've occasionally represented older children, if there's a family of siblings.
Like siblings all together,
right,
you'll take a sibling group.
It may be that we're able to then serve some of those teenagers. But if you can imagine going to a courtroom and sitting there and having the judge talk to you. I mean, I'm an attorney and it would make me nervous.
You're
So I
talking about like
can't
a
imagine-
13-year-old who
Right.
shows up and is
Right.
trying to talk for themselves?
Right, right. So they may have an attorney, but you're also talking about children who've been through trauma and able to represent themselves. I think that's a real challenge, and we'd love to be able to serve those children too.
That would be incredible. And just a plug, maybe it needs to be a change in Idaho law too, right? We'll see.
I mean, I think if it does, then that presents challenges as
Sure,
we
raising
try to
more
meet
money.
all those children's needs.
Right.
But we would love to have that challenge. We would. I think it would be great if we could be pushed and have the funds and be able to train more people and really help every single child, not just the young ones.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just a little behind the scenes, behind the curtain of what actually goes on. Let's take another look at that thermometer, shall we? Because that's why we're here tonight. We want to see how the money is pouring in. Over $44,000 coming in. We are more than halfway to our goal, as you can see. Only 35 donors so far, which I wanted to point that out because that number is significant. Look at 35 donors and what they have done in just this last hour. Such an incredible amount, including Rian, who's in with $20. But because we have a match tonight, all the numbers on our screen, Walter, you're 120, it is doubling.
Yes, thanks to Horizon Credit Union. They have been a tremendous partner, donating not just to this event, but they've been a partner for months now, and just heard that they're going to be donating, I think, 700 pairs of socks for our Christmas drive. So they're a really tremendous partner.
So really fast, as we're starting to wrap up this evening, there are more ways to donate than just financially. Of course, money goes a long way in this organization, as you've been hearing tonight. But if you would like to become a volunteer, if you would like to become part of the board staff and the development of that board staff, I'm sure you would be more than happy to
Absolutely.
meet
We
with
have
people.
committees. We have several committees that meet on a regular basis, usually once a month, and it's always great to have input from community members who may have special skills that can help us develop curriculums, research, the changes in laws, all those kinds of things that we have volunteers that come in and work on those committees with us.
So you don't have to be a huge commitment freak to know that you can get involved in Family Advocates
Absolutely.
and become a part of this family tonight. Craig Holworth, hi Craig, $1,000 pledge with that 22.80 cents. Thank you for taking on that for Family Advocates. We really appreciate Craig and Sherry. And you know what? The other thing we should mention too, you said it with Horizon, there are other ways to give. As you well know, Community Baby Shower, which happens every summer, makes sure that donations from Community Baby Shower and the diaper drive go to Family Advocates as one of our partners. So there are plenty of ways people can get involved. Let's put up that slide one more time, because not only can you text to give tonight, but there are ways for you to send in a check. You can call the organization. Darcy, as we wrap up, what do you hope people take away from tonight?
Honestly, I really just want the word to get out
Yes.
about what we do. We've been around for 40 years, and I think people are still just finding out about us. So my hope is that, yes, of course, we meet our goal, but also that you all feel moved to share this. Just spread it around. We're sharing all kinds of things on social media. Here's a really great thing to share. Just tell people about us. Doesn't matter if you know everything, just tell them that you watched this and that you learned a lot about something in your community that seems to be doing some really good work. And hand out our website and people can learn more. I think for me that would be a huge accomplishment to come out of tonight.
Well, we really appreciate all of you being with us tonight. We're up close to $46,000 raised. And as I said, this thermometer, this sharing of our story is going to happen until about 7, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So you still have another 24 hours to get the word out, and we'll get up to that $80,000 mark that we're so hoping to be at. Darcy, thank you for all the work that you put into Family Advocates. I know it's appreciated.
Michelle's the reason why I got involved in the first place.
I roped her in.
She dangled it out there, and it's been one of the best things that's ever happened to me. So, and this is so much fun to do this together.
I know. We said at the beginning, in case you missed it, we are actual real life sisters, but we're also part of the Family Advocates. So thank you again for being with us. If you have any questions, any thoughts, you can reach out to either of us personally. And of course, you have all of those numbers and texting and all the ways to reach out on your screen as we leave you tonight. And a huge shout out to all of the sponsors who helped make tonight happen. We couldn't do it without each and every one of you in our community. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.